Hi, welcome to She Prayer Journal's weekend workshop. I want to show you my setup for this week, and again, I'm using Organizing Your Prayer Closet, a new and life-changing way to pray by me, Gina Duke. And so again, it has a 60-week structured prayer journal. I've been enjoying decorating mine. This one was a very simple format. And the reason that is because this was a particularly hectic week. I had a lot going on. I've started a new job. I've been working a lot of hours. My brother-in-law had a heart attack. We're trying to help them get moved as they have bought a new home. And so I just went with something very simple that you can see here. This is the washi tape that I used. It came from Zuzuli, I think. Out of China, and so I love it. It's clear, and I really have enjoyed that. And then I just got some simple stickers from Walmart, and I just went with something simple because I certainly did not have plenty of time like I normally do to really work on it. And but still, I loved it. Even though it was simple, I thought it was very cheerful. And so I enjoyed coming to this particular page day by day. I got a lot of things written down, and again, this is just a sample of what I normally have written in mine. And but some things that I think that I will cover for you is my daughter. We actually have just now taken and dropped her off at the airport to fly to San Francisco for a summer internship. And this is a big deal for her because she is such a mama's girl. She's been a homebody. So to have her out there for the summer, the next 10 weeks is really good. And something we didn't really expect for her to follow through with. But God gave her a great person to report to. It's actually the person that did her interview. And she really liked her. It was one of the main decision makers for her to go out there. So she has went, and her placement is with this particular person that she really liked. And I just think that's just God's grace and favor. He goes before us, and so I'm really excited about that. Something else that she did here lately, I've been talking a lot about reconciliation with people. That's hopefully my next book out by a traditional publisher. And it's about resolving those past mistakes, offenses, and embarrassing snafus. And Callie's really been listening to me a lot lately talk about that. And so she had some friends from high school that she felt like she hadn't left on good terms with. So she made a gesture to them and just kind of had texted one of them and tried to put things, and apologize for her part of any misunderstandings. And that girl in particular then, I guess, shared her text with friends, put her in a group text and kind of made fun of her. And she was really devastated over that. But her sister and I really tried to talk about, she did what she believed God had called her to do. She followed through. He was going to bless that. And sure enough, even though that particular girl and her maybe not still on the best terms, those other girlfriends involved have reached out to my daughter and have really included her in some things. And so it's been good for her. God is good, and He knows our hearts. And I feel good about that. So I was excited about that. When we reconcile with people, it is hard. We put ourselves out there, and they can reject us. But the main thing is, at the end of the day, we stand whole and we stand obedient to God. And so I'm very thankful for her. My daughter is be 21 this fall, and she's just really growing up and just really letting God do some things in her life. And going out to San Francisco is one of those major things. She's going to go out and work at a church with a children's ministry. So praying God's blessing on her. But those are two big things that I happened and got to witness this week that I got to capture. Another thing I've got going on, I've just had to put it in God's hands. I mean, there's nothing else I can do about it. One of the things I do on the side of my regular job is I'm also a recruiter for the automotive industry. I've got a high-profile candidate out with a client, and I've really been working with this client, trying to get him to interview this particular candidate. They were reluctant to. I just kept plugging away. They finally reached out to my candidate, but the unfortunate part is that I think their HR person contacted the wrong agency that also had submitted him after me. And it looks like if that goes through, they may collect on my fee. And so I'm hoping I could reach out to them, but there's just so many other dynamics and things at play in this particular situation. I I mean, I was almost in tears one day because it's a high profile candidate, so it could be a really good, you know, fee for me. And I may end up losing that fee. And I was practically in tears, but I just have to leave that with the Lord. I mean, there's some things you just have to leave with God. There's nothing else you can do. And that's one of those things. I'm just got to trust the Lord. And I even made a note over here in my notes section about how, you know, I trust God above everybody else, and I'm just going to trust Him with this particular thing. And so pray with me, if you will, that if that goes through, that they'll realize their error and they'll give me the fee, as I was the first person to submit him, that candidate, and I was the one who really got him that interview. So we'll see. That's how it works in the recruiting business, and we'll see how it goes. Another thing in my heart and my passion that I made note of this past week is with my brother-in-law being ill. His twin brother, which is my husband, has really just stepped up and taken care of some things for him and his new family. He recently got remarried to the sweetest girl. She has sold her home, and now they're in the middle of this move right when my brother-in-law gets sick. And so my husband has really stepped up and tried to coordinate things, and it just makes me love him more. He's such a noble man, and I just have really appreciated him all over again, fell in love with him all over again because he's such a good guy. So I made note about my heart, my passion. That was just something I realized about my husband. And then right here, if we go over to insight and updates, because over here I've listed some people I've been witnessing to, and which is a cool thing, because I don't know if you noticed this, but in a few weeks ago I was saying I need to witness to people more. And in the world that I was living in, of just church world and ministry world, I seldom came across people who truly needed the gospel of Jesus Christ. What I realized, and so I started praying, I needed more opportunity. Well, then I started going back to work, and I went back to work, and then I just had this new whole group of people to just influence positively for Christ, to share Jesus with, and I've been really excited about that. So I just think it's funny how you think one thing's going on and God's doing other things to answer your prayer and to bring you into His will. And so that was an insight and update to a prayer request I had for, because one of my old prayer requests is, please, I need people to witness to, and He has done that for me. That's really the main things that I'll tell you about this week. It was a great week, even though it was hectic and it was busy. God was at work, and His favor was with me and my family, my daughter especially. And just to give you a sneak peek for next week, this is what we have. Oh, it has gotten stuck for some reason. And so I'll tell you about this setup next week and what the frowny face is all about. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great week, and happy journaling.